מודעני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שהחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה, רבה אמונתך, מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שהחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך. Boker Tov, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining me this morning. I hope everyone had wonderful winter holiday rests, breaks from school, from work, time with family if it was safe to do so. And now we're in a new year. Time for a new Shabbat. Page 184. Who does not hunger for friendship, understanding, warmth, and love? Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. These are the words we say when we finish a Torah portion. We'll say them again a few more times throughout this Shabbat. By Torah portion, I meant Book of Torah. Let us send strength to one another and pray for the welfare of this community. If you wear a tzitzit or a talit, the blessings for that are on page 190. Bless Adonai, O my soul. Adonai, my God, how great you are. You are robed in glory and majesty, wrapping yourself in light as a garment and spreading forth the heavens like a curtain. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'hitatef b'atzitzit. Page 192. The words of Ma Tovu come from the Torah, come from the book of Numbers, when the prophet Balaam is sent to curse the Israelites, and instead what comes out of his mouth is this beautiful blessing at the beauty of their gatherings. And although we are still not quite ready to gather in person, we have this beautiful community online through this miraculous technology. And so through this screen, I say to you, how lovely are your tents, your screens, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Va'ani berov chastecha avo betecha ashtachaveh el hechal kodshecha be'yiratecha. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Adonai, ahavti me'on betecha, umikom mishkan kevodecha. Va'ani ashtachaveh ve'echra'ah Erecha lifnei Adonai osi. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Va'ani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon. Elohim berov chastecha aneni be'emet yishecha. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. On page 196, we have Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi, the soul that you have implanted within me, O God, is pure. You created it, you shaped it, you breathed it into me, and you protect it within me. So often for the first Shabbat of the month, we do a meditative service because of the other secular or non-Jewish holidays that have disrupted our schedule a little bit these past couple of weeks. We're not doing it this week because I wanted us to have a more traditional service after not having anything last Shabbat. But this is our moment now with Elohai. Nishama, the words for soul and breath are often sort of interchangeable. So this is a good time to really focus on your breathing, focus on your inner core, like what makes you, you, and what do you need from this moment today? Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. 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 Beginning on page 198, we have our blessings for daily miracles. As I say the words on the page, I invite you to add in the chat the things that you are blessing this morning, the little miracles that get you through the day. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sechli bina lahavchin ben yom uven laila. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who frees the captive. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who lifts up the fallen. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam roka haaretz al hamayim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who strengthens our steps. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who clothes the naked. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam le'ayev koach hanoten le'ayev koach. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the weary, sovereign of the universe, who gives strength to the weary. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who gives us coffee, which I should have drank more of before I started this. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavir sheina me'einai u'numa me'afa pai. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who removes sleep from the eyes and slumber from the eyelids. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzelem Elohim. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who made me in the image of God. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani bat chorin. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made us free. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made me a Jew. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who gives our bodies and hearts the ability to heal. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael bigvura. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who girds the Jewish people with strength. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who crowns the Jewish people with splendor. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot and commands us to engage with words of Torah. And with that, we segue into our morning service proper with the Chatzi Kaddish on page 224. Yitgadal v'yitgadash merabah Almadi rachir tevem lich malchute b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayetzecho beit Yisrael bagala uv'izman kariv v'imeru amen yehesh merabah mevarach ve'alamu al me'amaya yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal shemei tekudasha b'richu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata tamiran be'alma v'imeru amen. We lost some viewers during that Chatzi Kaddish, so we're quite below our minyan again. So let's do a little bit of an alternative call to worship, page 227. What does it mean to be called to worship? All serious activity requires preparation. The prayers and blessings that precede Baruch Hu are warm-ups for the individual. Now communal prayer properly begins. The leader asks, "Are you ready to pray?" And we respond, "Yes, let us pray." So I ask you now, are we ready to pray? I'm seeing no response in the chat, but I'm just going to keep going. All right. In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope. Author of light, language and light, help us to use words as you have to cast light into dark waters and draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMe'orot. Oh, okay, now I'm getting some yeses. Thanks, guys. Page 231. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said, and light blinded we saw. That inner and outer worlds are one as you are one. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back and climbed again, your Sinai of life. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael ba'ahava. On page 232 and 233, we have the Shema, followed by the Ve'ahavta. I invite you to prepare yourselves for these words of Torah. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha Bechol לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים אלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Emet. There is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word. Emet. That pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice. Mi chamocha ba'alim Adonai, mi kamocha nader b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele, shira chadesha shibchu geulim leshimcha, al sfat hayam yachad kulam hodu v'himlechu v'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed mi chamocha ba'alim Adonai mi kamocha neder b'kodesh nora tehilot osef ele nora tehilot osef ele Tzur Yisrael Kuma Bezrat Yisrael Uvtechinu Mecha Yehuda v'Yisrael Go Aleinu Adonai Tzevaot Shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. The word Kuma means rise. So if you rose during that final verse of the Michamocha, you may be prepared now for the Amidah, the standing prayer, which begins on page 242 and continues over the next few pages. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו משמי עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדם מלך, מלך ממית ומחיי, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך כל הארץ כבודו אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו אחד הוא אלוהינו הוא אבינו הוא מלכנו הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהייך ציון לדור ודור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. You may be seated. We are now on page 250. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomre 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomre 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. מקדשי שבי שבת כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מטובך השבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת, חמדת ימים, אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשה שדי בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלאכתך, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Page 255. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levarcha b'yir'ah na'avod. On page 257, we have Hoda'ah, the thank you prayer. There are three basic categories of prayer in Judaism. There's the bavakasha, the prayer for asking for stuff. I mean, there are multiple, the style of prayer that asks for stuff. There's the shevach, which is pure praise. And there's the hoda'ah, which is a thank you prayer. And sometimes the praise and the thank you gets a little confused. Like, what are we praising if not for God's miracles that we are also grateful for? But there is a distinction. One is just for the sake of God's great earth. And one is more particularly for what we have received from God's great earth. So in the beginning, we did a shevach for daily miracles, the blessings for daily miracles that just get us to the day, that our bodies work at all. Like, what a miracle. Now, for Hoda'ah, I invite you again to share, this time more deeper gratitude. What have you received this week, or what are you receiving this Shabbat particularly? For the enduring grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations, modim anachnu lach. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons, modim anachnu lach. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements, modim anachnu lach. For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. Modim anachnu lach. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared. Modim anachnu lach. For all who have lived and labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom, modim anachnu lach. for human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to grow and change, to affirm and choose, modim anachnu lach. For coffee, modim anachnu lach. For West African peanut soup, which is a great way to hide vegetables for picky eaters, modim anachnu lach. We pray that we may live not by our fear, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lehodot. Page 258. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Yai dai 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 yai dai 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 yai dai dai yai dai 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 yai dai dai yai dai dai yai dai dai dai. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We take a moment now for silent prayer. If you have a Mishkan Tefillah, you might use the words on page 260 and 261, or the meditations of your own heart. Yehiyu leratzon imrei fi vehegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri v'goali May the words of our mouths be acceptable to you, Adonai, our rock and redeemer. All right, close enough. I assume some of you have more than one person at your screen. So let's do our Torah service, which begins on page 362. Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai ve'ein k'ma'asecha Malechutecha v'malechut kol olamim U'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'hador Adonai malach, Adonai melech Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oseh amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom av harachamim etiva b'rtzoncha et Zion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim kivecha levad batachnu melech aram v'nisa adon olamim Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, Udevar Adonai miYerushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadlu Adonai iti Uneromama Shemo Yachdav. The blessings are on page 368, and our Torah portion this week, we finish the book of Genesis with it depends on what copy of Chumash you have, with Genesis chapter 47, verse 28. There we go. It's one of the only Torah portions I've ever, I think, come across that doesn't begin, like the Parsha begins in the very middle of the, I can't show you because I don't have enough hands, but it's not at one of the breaks. So that makes it kind of hard to find again, but I just had it. Yeah, okay, there we go. Baruch hu et Adonai hambarach, Baruch Adonai hambarach le'olam ba'ed, Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch et Adonai noten ha'torah, amen. Vayechi yamei Yaakov be'eretz Mitzrayim 17 shana. Vayehi yamei Yaakov shenei chayav 7 shanim ve'arba'im uma'at shana. Vayikravu yamei Yisrael lamut vayikra livno liosef vayomer lo imna מצאתי חן בעיניך, סימנה ידך תחת ירכי, ועשית עמדי חסד ואמת, אל נא תקברנו במצרים. ושכבתי עם אבותיי, ונשאתני במצרים, וקברתני בקברותם, ויאמר אנוכי אעשה כדבריך. ויאמר הישבע לי, וישבעה לו, וישתחוו ישראל על ראש המיטה. ויהי אחרי הדברים האלה, ויאמר ליוסף, הנה אביך חולה, ויקח את שני בניו עמו, את מנשה ואת אפרים. ויגד ליעקב, ויאמר הנה בנך יוסף בא אליך, ויתחזק ישראל, וישב על המיטה. ויאמר יעקב אל יוסף, אל שדי נראה אלי בלוז בארץ כנען, ויברך אותי, ויאמר אלי, הנני מפרך והרביתיך, ונתתיך לקהל עמים, ונתתי את הארץ הזאת לזרח אחריך אחוזת עולם, ואתה את שני בניך הנולדים לך בארץ מצרים, עד בואי אליך מצרימה, לי הם אפרים ומנשה, כראובן ושמעון יהי לי. ומולדתך אשר הולדתי אחריהם לך יהיו, על שם אחיהם יקראו בנחלתם, ואני בבואי מפדן מתה עלי רחל בארץ כנען בדרך בעוד כברת ארץ לבוא אפרתה, ואקבריה שם בדרך אפרת היא בית לחם. ויראה ישראל את בני יוסף, ויאמר מי אלה? ויאמר ליוסף אל אביו, בניהם אשר נתן לי אלוהים בזה. ויאמר קחם נא אלי ואברכם. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה. So, as I said, I just lost my place. No? Yeah? Okay. So it starts, sometimes that happens. It starts here, right in the middle of this, well, not quite the middle, but the middle of this line, 3/4 of the way down this big paragraph here. And then, beyond just that first aliyah that I read, you see that big gap over here. That's the end of Genesis and the beginning of Exodus. So, bottom of page 370. Vezot Torah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai biyad Moshe. And now, while our Torah is still out, before we move on in our service, oh, that ink is sticky. We take a moment to think of those who are ill or injured or in recovery from surgery and in need of healing. As I say the names on my list, please also share with me any names of those for whom you would like to say the Misha Berach. Mary Kennedy, Rosalind Cantu, Mike Haug, Lori Perry, Nick Joliot, Bernard Strassner, Ariel Batsluva, Rhoda Wessler, Marion Finkel, Skip, Kathy, and Jeffrey Brace, Rhonda Butler, Ricky Grant, Shoshana Bat Abraham, Minna Dornfeld, Michael Kumakawa, Joey Jones, Juliette Origi, Leslie White, Ann Cohen, Charlotte Birch, Jim Crisio, Neil Slater, Anita Ash, Marcy Bellows, Joseph Matter, Daryl Swan, Steve McGrew, and Steve and Jan Frick. And Kevin Perdue. The Misha Berach is on page 371, and we hold in our thoughts all those in need of healing of mind, body, or spirit. Misha Berach avotenu, mekor habracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu, mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And now for our Haftarah, the blessings are on page 372. The Haftarah comes from 1 Kings chapter 2. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. And the days of David drew near that he should die, and he charged his son Solomon, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be you strong, therefore, and show yourself a man. And keep the charge of the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, to keep his statutes and his commandments, his judgments and his testimonies, as it is written in the Torah of Moses, that you may prosper in all that you do and wherever you turn yourself, that the Lord may continue his word which he spoke concerning me, saying, if your children take heed to their way, to walk before me in truth with all their heart and with all their soul, there shall not fail you a man on the throne of Israel. And you shall know that Joab, the son of Zeruiah, did to me also, and what he did to the two captains of the armies of Israel, to Abner, the son of Ner, and to Amasa, the son of Jether, whom he killed, and shed the blood of war in peace, and put the blood of war upon his girdle around his loins, and his shoes that were on his feet. Do therefore according to your wisdom, and let not his gray head go down to Sheol in peace. But show great kindness to the sons of Barzillai the Gileadite, and let them be of those who eat at your table, for so they came to me when I fled because of Absalom your brother. And behold, you have with you Shimei the son of Gera, a Benjaminite of Beharum, who cursed me with a grievous curse on the day when I went to Mahanaim. But he came down to meet me at the Jordan, and I swear to him by the Lord, saying, I will not put you to death with the sword. Therefore, hold him not guiltless, for you are a wise man, and know what you ought to do to him, but bring his gray head down to Sheol with blood. And then David slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David. And the days that David reigned over Israel were 40 years. 7 years he reigned in Hebron, and 33 years he reigned in Jerusalem. And Solomon sat on the throne of David his father, and his kingdom was firmly established. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik bechol hadorot, ha'el haneman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber u'mkayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha, lechavod u'ltifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarachim otach, yitbarach shimcha befi kol chai, tamid leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat. Amen. Now we return our Torah to our ark on page 374. Yehallelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav shemo levado, hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayaren keren le'amo, tehila lechol chasidav, libnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Eitz Chaim hi למחזיקים בה ותומכיה מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש ימינו כקדם. While our ark is open, we flip to Aleinu on page 586. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגולי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us in body, but remain with us in spirit. Oh, I forgot to give my sermon. We'll come back to that. Because we did not have services last week, these are the yahrzeits from the last 2 weeks for those who observed them. Charles Lefkowitz, Eugene Grinstead, Solomon Strick, Alan H. Levy, Lori Cheryl Cartel, Edward Pearlstein, Bob Katz, Nathan Milgram, John Nabozny, Doris Oleski, George Hankin, Jacob Nemero, Julius Daniels, Dorothy Noren Salinger, William Bernstein, and William Chu. And we are still within the year of mourning for Roger Haug, Paula Cooper, Ernie Weissman, Sandra Lenag, David Avery, Art Rich, Jason Brown, Louis Petrozello, Gary Lines, John DiNicola, Arizona Breeding, Fran Warona, Rick Grossman, Ora Alva Leon, Sharon Buell, Mona Mandel, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Patricia Michaels, Joe Davis, Kathleen Schindler, Jamie Bellitz, Neil Savage, Ann O'Neill, Bruce Schechter, and Gary David Friedman. Mourners and those who wish to join them may rise for the Kaddish on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. You may be seated if you rose. So, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. As I said, this week we finished the book of Genesis, and we have closed out a calendar year. Our Torah portion, Parashat Vayichi, tells of the deaths of Jacob and then later Joseph, as well as Jacob's final deathbed blessings for his children and his favorite grandchildren. Throughout the last few parshiot, we've seen Joseph and his brothers grow up a lot, but in Jacob's final moments, we see him continuing to perpetuate the same mistakes that have plagued so much of his family dynamics. He blesses Joseph's sons, not any of the other grandchildren, effectively giving Joseph the double inheritance that should go to the oldest child, to Reuven. Further, Joseph follows the normal social order of putting his oldest son at Jacob's right hand, but Jacob swaps his hands and puts his right hand on the younger Ephraim and prophesies that he will surpass his older brother Manasseh. Now, we don't often get the opportunity to say the kind of formal goodbyes that Jacob has in this parsha. The Midrash tells us what a unique position he was in. Although we see other people in the Torah, in the Bible, and we saw in the Haftarah, David as well, knows that the time has come near for him to die, and he has the chance to bless his children too. But Midrash tells us that Jacob really, really knew when the exact moment of his death and had this opportunity that really nobody else has. But even without that, if this year has taught us anything, it's that we should take every opportunity to offer blessings to the people that we love. And although Jacob shows a disappointing lack of character growth in that climactic moment when he blesses his favorite grandchildren and not any of the others, he does model for us a commitment to breaking social norms for the sake of what appears to him to be more correct, such as switching the hands. And that should be another thing that this unusual year has demonstrated the need for, that sometimes social norms are holding us all back. And when we have this opportunity to create a new social norm, we should take it. So as we enter this new year, let us grow in our relationships and learn from past mistakes, as Joseph and his brothers did. Let us use the forced opportunity of the pandemic, which has exacerbated, accelerated, and highlighted many pre-existing social trends and problems, to upend arbitrary rules and expectations that society has pushed up to now, often at the expense of the disenfranchised. Let's swap our hands, like Jacob. And most importantly, may we fill 2021 with blessings vocalized and acted upon for ourselves, our loved ones, and the whole world. Amen, and Shabbat Shalom. Now we come toward the end of our service, so as I say some announcements, this is a good time to go grab your challah, your grape juice, whatever. You're going to make motzi and kiddush over. I'm going to grab mine as well. Just right off screen here. Okay, so tonight we will have Havdalah at 7:30 streaming on Facebook and Instagram. Tomorrow there is religious school on Zoom at 10 a.m. There is our bonus session with Rabbi Jeffrey Dennis tomorrow at 3. It was supposed to be last week. He had something came up from his own congregation he had to attend to, so we are getting it tomorrow. I believe it's going to be a more practical use session where he's going to actually help us read some pages from Zohar. So please join us. If you haven't been able to join the other 3, just do like a quick Google check of what Zohar is so you have some idea and hop in. It'll be great. And then next week we'll switch topics. It'll go back to 1 o'clock, back to me teaching as we move on to our 5 Megillot, starting with Song of Songs. What else is coming up between next week and this week and next week? Wednesday, book club, 10:30. We read The Garment Maker's Daughter this month. So if you read the book, join us. If you didn't read the book, but you want to join next month, contact me or Debbie Rubenstein and find out what our book choice will be after Wednesday, and then you can join us next month. Torah study continues Thursday at noon, so this week we will start with Exodus, Parshat Shemot, Exodus 1:1, and then Friday back to regular Shabbat evening services streaming on YouTube and Facebook at 7:30. So that's everything, I think. All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei Every time. I can't figure out what the proper small bite is. Our closing song will be Ein Keloheinu on page 626. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Chadonenu, Mi Chemalkeinu, Mi Chamoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Have a wonderful, restful day, and I will see you this evening for Havdalah.